Good evening. How's everybody? I'd like to welcome you here tonight. And we appreciate all of you coming. We have a couple of recognitions. And I know maybe it's difficult now that we've gone into daylight saving time. Everybody enjoying that? But looks like it's it's gonna stay around for a little while, so we don't know, but I'm glad to have you here. Right now, we're going to follow the agenda, and please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Moving right along, can I get approval of the minutes with those addendums?
I move February 13th minutes be approved.
Okay, I'm gonna let you hold that. We're gonna approve the minutes first from our last meeting.
That, I believe that's what I said.
No.
February 13th minutes
Okay,
be approved.
all right, second. All those in favor for approval, do so by raising your right hand. Then we move on to approval of the meeting agenda.
Make a motion to approve the meeting agenda with the two addendums.
Yes, all right, thank you. Okay, thank you. Are those, anybody have any discussion or anything? There being none, all those in favor for approval, do so by raising your right hand. Okay, next, we'll move on to recognitions and announcements.
Good evening. We have several recognitions for this evening. We'll begin with athletics and ask Mr. Horner to come forward with his guest. Ms. White, would you join me around?
Good evening. Today we're here to honor those individuals who played athletics at Vance County High School during the fall and winter periods. As I call your name, please come up to the front and have a stance behind the VCS. We will start off with volleyball. Ms. Ruby Trejo, all conference. For soccer, we have Miguel Garcia, Mikhail Green, and Wasim Hadi, all three, all conference. For football, we have Mr. Aaron Elliott, Coach of the Year for the Northern Lakes Athletic Association. Mr. Nazir Garrett, Offensive Player of the Year for the Northern Lakes Athletic. Chris Jones, Eisner Alston, and Trail Gibson, TJ Parham, and Marquise Sanders. In basketball, we have Nathaniel Durham and Cesarian Holden. And for women's basketball, we have Jakaya Evans, Sarah Baldwin, and Kaya Vanderbilt. Proud of each and every one of you. If you can, give them another round of applause. Coaches here, if you would like to get into the picture, please.
Two.
Thank you.
This is my nephew.
We'll move forward now with custodial recognitions. Mr. Purdue?
Good evening. Again, it's a wonderful time to recognize great work going on in the district. This evening, I have with me Marshall Burwell, District Custodial and Ground Supervisor, and Tommy Kirkman with CFL, and I'm gonna let them award the presentation of plaques and also give out the scores from this recent December and February inspections.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's my pleasure to be here to be able to celebrate the scores that we have for December and for February with the custodial staffs. And we're gonna start with December's winners. And I would like for them to be able to come up so that we can get a picture with them. And then we'll present for the February winners. In December, we came out and for the secondary schools, for the secondary school, we had Advanced Academy scoring a 97.0.
Okay, O'Brien.
And then for the for the elementary schools, we had Carver Elementary scoring a 98.5. February, winners. I want to announce those, but I also want to make a note of some of the other incredible scores that we had. Starting with Zeb Vance, they scored a 95.4. Aycock scored a 95.6. Clark Elementary scored a 95.9. E.O. Young scored a 96.0. New Hope was also a 96.0. E.M. Rollins, you know, usually they're in the B areas, but they jumped all the way up to 96.3. That school really had a huge improvement. And then the winner for the elementary schools was LB Yancey with a 99.0. Secondary school, the high school scored a 95.7, and they won for this round of inspections for the secondary school.
Thank you. It takes all of us to provide the right environment for our children. We do appreciate your hard work, we really do. One final recognition, a very important one is, Mr. Horner will recognize our social workers. They not only are teachers, but are nurses and parents and grandparents and everything else that you can imagine to our students, and we certainly do appreciate it. Mr. Horner?
Okay, thank you. When I call your name, please come forward and get your certificate. Ms. Elvia Bodie, New Hope, and E.M. Rollins. Ms. Monica Evans, Dance, Virtual, and STEM. Jasmine Peace, Vance County Middle School and Harvard. Excuse me, E.O. Young. Ms. Sharon Pettiford, Advanced Academy. Karen Reese, Early College and Dabney. Alicia Richardson, Vance County Middle School. Karen Smiley, Aycock and Pinkston. Kathy Taylor, Vance County High School. Tony Harrell Terry, and that would be Clark and E.O. Young. And finally, Kristen Tharp Roaring, LB Yancey and Zeb Vance. There is a quick proclamation that I will read from Governor Roy Cooper. Whereas school social workers are mental health professionals who provide students and families with services related to social, emotional, and life adjustments to school and or society. And whereas school social workers are specifically trained and qualified to identify barriers to learning and achievement and develop and implement strategies to address and eliminate these barriers. And whereas school social workers provide the vital link between the home, school, and community and support services that can make a positive impact on students' academic achievement. And whereas school social social workers help students achieve increased success, improve interpersonal relationships, cope with crisis situations, learn problem-solving skills, improve attendance, and build self-esteem. And whereas school social workers promote the academic mission of the schools by fostering educational environments that are safe, have supportive, fair, and responsive policies, and emphasize early intervention and positive behavior interventions. Now therefore, I, Roy Cooper, Governor of the State of North Carolina, do hereby proclaim March 6th through the 12th, 2022 as School Social Worker Week in North Carolina.
While you're coming back to the seat, I would like to have Dr. Bennett. I really appreciate the student athletes and the coaches awards tonight. And I would really like to see us honor these student athletes 3 times a year. In the fall, in the winter, and in the spring. The reason I say that is we recognize 5 sports tonight, but we also have wrestling, cross country, swimming, boys and girls, tennis, and cheerleading. So if any of those would have made honors, we already had it filled up. If we could separate it to 3, I think it would be even better.
A great idea. All right, no comments from the public. Next, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you so much, Ms. White. As we move forward, we'd like to begin with a fiscal oversight monthly report. Mr. Super.
Good evening. The accounts have been reconciled through January of this year, and the finance staff has already started on year-end processes with budgets and encumbrances. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Suthar. Very quick update on COVID. The highest number of positive cases identified in the schools during the month of February was 10. We are still monitoring. We are still using our safety protocols, but we're also very, very grateful that the numbers are decreasing in the buildings. Next, I'd like to mention and give Dr. Holloman and Janelle Cheekett, if she happens to be here, an opportunity to talk a little bit about a program that we have just started, CLIMB. And this is an alternative to suspension for our 4th and 5th graders. Dr. Holloman.
Good evening. The CLIMB program was initiated back in November. And through much deliberation, we were able to launch it on February the 27th. The CLIMB Center is a program designed specifically for long-term suspended 4th and 5th graders. I know that may sound strange, but we do have a large number of 4th and 5th graders who are suspended. And rather than those children be at home alone or be at home unsupervised, Dr. Bennett and I wanted to design a program where they could come and continue their education. The CLIMB program is right now located at the E.M. Rollins building. Because of the 3 sites that we surveyed, this particular site served us best because it had access without disturbing other classrooms. So we're on the south side in one classroom at E.M. Rollins. The CLIMB serves as an alternative to suspension. Students have to be suspended for at least 5 days, and they spend their 4 days with us. The first day they are home with their parents or home with someone else while we do an action plan. And once that action plan is completed, we notify the parents, so the parent can bring the children to school, because if they're suspended, they cannot ride the bus. So that component is called the family engagement, which is required by the National Dropout Prevention Center for those programs to actually receive recognition. The protocols, once the student has been suspended, the principal and the parent will sit down and discuss the possibility of that student actually being referred to the Climb Center. Once that has been discussed, the parent agrees, they sign the referral form, and that form is immediately scanned and emailed to myself, Mr. Ray Horner, and Janelle Cheek. Once we get that form, Janelle will automatically notify the parent, let the parent know that we have received a referral form and we are waiting for that parent to make the arrangements to get the child to school and pick up. We go through the process of identifying and explain to them what the program is. Again, we know the principal has already done that, but we do that for the second time. The referral process is very simple. The principal does make the referral, and we want to make sure that they are the ones who are making the referral, not the assistant principal or the principal themselves, because we want them to understand that there is an alternative for the child not being in school. They will receive their academic classroom assignments, also social emotional skill training. The student action plan is very important because what we do is we make sure that we understand as a staff what is needed for the child. If the child was suspended because of behavior issues, we want to address those issues first. So we have a behavior specialist that has been transferred to us, and that behavior specialist is qualified to introduce strategies of behavior modification and behavior strategies in the level 2 category of the MTSS program. Next. As you can see, the schedule is very tight. Our kids come in at 8:30. They'll serve breakfast. And then Ms. Cheek will go through a series of classes with them. They have to bring their own computers. The technology department has equipped us with all the necessary tools we need for the students to get online. And if for some reason their computer is not working, we have problems during the day, we have some extras at the Climb Center so they can enroll and continue their progress. If you notice down there, there's some things that we're doing is for social emotional only, because they have to be able to associate why they have math. They have to associate why do they have English, why do they read? And as a student said to me last week, I never liked reading, but now I do. And I said, why? Because now I've got the time to really read. And so I said to them, you have all the time in the world. I'll make sure you have that. So the Climb Center, we don't want them to come and want to stay. And Dr. Whitney made that very clear. She does not want those kids to come over because there's a small classroom and they want to stay, but they do want to stay. But there's a transition plan, and I'll go through that shortly. We do 4th and 5th graders. On one side of the classroom is the 4th graders, and on the other side of the classroom is the 5th graders. We also have a timeout section within each area. The timeout section is where if a child or student becomes aggravated or starts to act out, we give them time to go get into that room and calm down. Although Ms. Cheek has strategies that she's been using, and the kids are responding very well to those strategies. But our schedule is pretty tight from 8:30 to 2. Parents are responsible for bringing them and responsible for picking them up. Next. We want our students to be about the change, so we got a lot of information posted on the wall and the bulletin boards within that classroom. The change has got to start with them. We use the word climb because the students have got themselves in a situation and we want them to climb their way out of it. There is a theme that goes with the Climb Center, but we'll have to play that at another time because time won't allow us today. Yes. As you can see in the slide presentation, there's Ms. Cheek talking to 2 students. We officially opened on the 27th. We've got 2 students who are getting ready to transition back to their schools. One thing that's important that Dr. Bennett and I agreed on, that if E.M. Robbins, no, that's where we are. If LB Yancey is going to send us a student, then LB Yancey's social worker and their school counselor have got to come over and also go through the action plan with us. They may have information about the student that we don't know. They can share that information to help us understand the dynamics of that student's behavior, the characteristics of that student, and how we plan to address those issues. We also asked them to come back when they're ready to do the transition. When that child has spent their 5th day, we want them to transition back to that school We want the school counselor and the social worker to come again and sit down with us. So Janelle, she can explain to them what she has done in the world of strategies and in the world of behavior dynamics. So that is working very well. We've got those two individuals, those two students. I hate to see those two students go, but they're gonna have to go. But they have really transitioned very well, and they're doing a great job. One of the things I do not want to highlight, and that is the fact that our classroom itself was equipped by E.M. Rollins, and they gave us supplies. New Hope gave us some supplies as well. The TV was already in that room, and so we are thankful that we had all those supplies already in that classroom. As you can see, Janelle Cheek is emerged into a strategy where the kids are watching the video, and as the video pronounces certain words, they got to respond, and they're doing it very well. I wish I could read this, but I can't see it. But I do know the hardest wall to climb is the one on the inside of us. Our children need this particular program, and I am glad to be a part of it. Our children get ready to transition back, and we already have 2 more kids that should be coming to us shortly. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, first of all, I think it's a great program. You're trying to reach out for people that need more help. As a teacher, I'd love to have a class with 2 students. I think I would be a better teacher. But my thing is, we grade integrate tests on the elementary level at 3rd, 4th, 5th. Why not the 3rd?
Our data shows us that 90%, not 90%, there's a large percentage of our children who are in that category of behavior infractions are 4th and 5th graders. Dr. Bennett and I discussed the 3rd grade possibilities, and that is if a 3rd grader is in violation of school policy above and beyond the norm, we're talking about level 3, then that is an exception. She'll make that administrative assignment. But it's based on 4th and 5th graders, based on the data for the past 4 or 5 years.
My other question is EC. Do you allow the EC students in this?
Yes, I do.
Because of their IEPs, you were talking about documentation from your counselors and all, and I didn't really.
Before the student can come to us, there must be an IEP, a meeting where they gotta do a change of placement. And that must take place as well. All the protocols that need to take place for EC students will take place on the normal service tests.
My last question, I promise I'll leave you alone.
No, you're fine.
Fights is a big problem.
Mhm.
Both of us got the 5 days. Do both of us go to that same class?
Both of you, well, I would, if 2 kids are suspended for 5 days and they're suspended because they're fighting,
Right.
then I'm gonna make sure that I'm there every day, all day long with those kids. If they're not there for fighting, you know, I do have other things that I have to do as well. So Ms. Cheek is there and she can handle 2 kids. But if I know that the 2 students were suspended because they were fighting or because of gang affiliation or gang association, then I'm gonna be there.
If I may, part of the program is really to help students learn strategies
Yes.
to manage and maintain good behavior. So keeping them away from their tipping point is not always the best thing. So we start with the strategies, and then hopefully they are going to be able to end up getting along because they're going to go back to school together. But yes, we do have a system of monitoring and
Yes.
making sure their proximity of where they sit within the classroom, the other strategies, as Dr. Holloman mentioned. And he is there with Ms. Cheek if there are students that we have concern could be a threat of safety to self or safety to others. And I too, Dr. Holloman, want to thank Dr. Thomas, especially for giving up the
Yes.
classroom for us to use and for other principals who have shared resources. Again, lots of our 4th and 5th graders had repeated suspensions, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, over and over again. So we knew that we had to stop long enough to teach strategies to manage behavior. And yes, we don't want them to want to stay there. We want them to learn those strategies and then be able to be successful in their homeschool. So thank you, Dr. Hoffman, and also to Janelle Cheek for the work that you're doing there. I just want to share very briefly a little bit about our Assistant Principal Symposium, tailored. It is, our sessions have been tailored specifically for our assistant principals. I can tell you our goal is to provide leaders with growth and collaboration opportunities, and we do see our assistant principals as current leaders and future leaders. We wanted to make sure that our assistant principals had the information that they needed as it relates to district priorities and to district initiatives. And we wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to work with our assistant principals on a collective impact project. And there are multiple pieces to that project. And so, you know, we know leadership takes on many forms, and all of these assistant principals who are with us have their own leadership style, but they're working collaboratively on a collective impact project. And what we're doing here, we broke our, or they organized themselves into 4 teams. They presented a Shark Tank type presentation. The group, we selected 2 projects that the district will fund. Each project has a budget of $12,500. Now, all of the assistant principals are on one of the 2 projects, and they are working through and implementing, beginning to implement their collective impact project. They have to collect data. First of all, they had to know that there was an issue, and they had to have the data to back up the fact that there was something that we needed to do differently. We have one around literacy, we have one around parent involvement. And I can tell you right now, both projects are moving along rather quickly. They will report out to you. We'll invite all of them in May to share with you what they have learned through this process. They'll also be receiving leadership CEUs, those things that sometimes assistant principals do not have access to because they do not attend our leadership meetings. But we're really excited about the work they're doing, the collaborative spirit, the leadership development that we're seeing. They have Socratic seminars, they're reading leadership books and other things. So all of Cabinet and we do this project with our assistant principals. They learn finance, they learn every aspect, facilities. So we're really preparing them to be strong principals one day soon. Thank you.
So with this, both groups will get the $12,000 budget.
Absolutely. We had first said, Ms. White, you know, a $25,000 budget from the ESSERS. It had to be in line with our priorities. And we had 2 projects that were so strong that we ended up dividing it. And now we have a $12,500 budget for each. They're following all the financial guidelines. We are within the letter of the law. They have designed their budget. They are working on their projects. All of the assistant principals as a team, and then they will be sharing out. We meet again next Tuesday. We'll be sharing out their current status, and then in May they'll be able to come and tell you what their project was and where they are. They have to maintain the data collection because it's about impact, not just a project that they've done that was fun, but a project that actually has made impact on student improvement.
The reason I asked is because I thought it was gonna be like a Shark Tank presentation that led me to believe that who had the best presentation would get funding.
That's how we started, I'll be honest with
So-
you, but there were all of them were really good, but we could not decide. So then we divided the 25 and the 12,5, and we have 2 projects.
Oh, that's great.
And the very last thing that I would like to share with you again very quickly, working with our summer plan for learning, looking at our students across the district who will have opportunities to attend summer programs from Read to Achieve Camp to the Centro to middle school and secondary camps. We also have information that we'll be providing out to our families about Boys and Girls Club camps. CTE also has a middle school and a secondary plan for summer involvement. And of course, our EC students have the opportunity for extended school year. So again, just wanted to make sure that you were aware. Of course, we didn't forget the high school students either with credit recovery and our annual cohort camp for those students who are scheduled to graduate next year. So this information will be shared in a more robust form to principals and the leadership meeting on Thursday. Dr. Powers and her team already have the applications that they're pushing out for staff for summer employment. All of this will be contained basically within the month of July. So we want families to know so they can make plans to have their students participate. We wait much longer, they all make vacation plans. So we want to get this out so our families and our staff will have an opportunity to be with us this summer to enhance learning opportunities. That's my report.
And especially, it's good for all these grade levels, but in high school, for those who need that credit, recovery, the counselors will look at that and call those students in to, let them know what a benefit is to them. Did you take a vote on this program? So I get a motion to approve the summer program plan.
I move that we approve the summer program.
Thank you.
A second.
Okay. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor for approval do so by raising your right hand. All right, next we'll move into the board standing committees. And we'll start with personnel. The personnel committee met on March 7th. And we looked at the personnel summary, including appointment, recommendation, resignations, retirements, leaves, and transfers and promotions. And we had a motion by Mr. Oxendine to take it to the full board for approval. So may I get a motion?
Motion to approve the personnel and the addendum.
Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor for approval do so by raising your right hand. And some other items that we discussed were projected vacancies, recruitment information, and we have quite a few job fairs scheduled for this month. And we got some save the dates, and I still don't know what I did with mine, so I'll probably have to get a second one. Okay, and we had an audit exception report, and we're working very well with that. So we will not have these exceptions. And Ms. Hartness asked about the ESS transition, and they said the transition was going very well with that. And that's it. The next personnel committee meeting is March 28th, 9:00 a.m. Okay, finance,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Suther, and he's gonna talk about some babies.
Oh, yes. The finance committee met on February 22nd. Ms. White called the meeting to order at 12 o'clock. Reality Works contract provides real-life hands-on learning opportunities for early childhood education at Vance County High School through the CTE department. $48,596.32 of this funding will come from federal CTE improvement grant, and these are for real-life babies and simulate real-life experiences. Being no further discussion, Ms. Cobb motioned and Mr. Perry seconded the vote to take the Reality Works contract to the full board for approval.
Can I get a motion that we approve the Reality Works?
Make a motion to approve the.
That's the motion.
Can I get a second?
Thanks.
Okay, I thought I heard you say. Okay. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor for approval do so by raising your right hand.
The Lamar of Raleigh contract is for the outdoor billboard advertisement. This is for $6,646 for the upcoming year. And being no further discussion, Mr. Perry motioned and Ms. Cobb voted, seconded to take the vote to the full board for approval.
Get a motion?
Make a motion to approve the billboard.
That's the motion.
Any discussion?
Where was the billboard City or the one, I guess.
It's one billboard, it's located in the same place we've had this past year on Highway 158, across from the Food Line Shopping Center. Maybe somebody else can give better direction, that's the best I can tell you. Does that make, do you know where that is? Okay. State funded teacher supplement. The State Appropriation Act of 2021 allocated recurring funding to provide salary supplements to teachers. The maximum per teacher funding amount is $2,964 for Vance County school teachers for this fiscal year 22-23, and will be paid by June 30th. Being no further discussion, Ms. Cobb motion and Mr. Perry seconded vote to take the state funded teacher supplement schedule to payment request to the payment request to the full board for approval.
Make a motion to accept the state funded teacher supplement. Second.
That's the motion.
Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor for approval do so by raising your right hand.
The county appropriation request. This is the proposed request for the county appropriation funding for general operating, teacher supplements, and capital. The breakdown is below for a total appropriation request of $10,128,615. Being no further discussion, Mr. Perry motioned and Ms. White seconded to take the county appropriation request to the full board for approval.
Make a motion to accept the county appropriation request. Second.
Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor for approval do so by raising your right hand.
And then under informational items, the Rave Panic button will be paid for through the Center for Safer Schools, and they announced that launch. And this is from the NC Department of Public Safety, made it available to all K-12 school districts and charter schools. The panic button is free and optional for employees to opt in. The BOE budget training session will be this coming Wednesday at 11 o'clock, and the second session will be next Wednesday, March 22nd at 1 p.m. for board members. The capital request, the district is still under funding for the sale of the EJ facility. Ms. White confirmed with Mr. Purdue that several people have contacted him regarding the sale of the EJ Annex building. Mr. Purdue shared that the board recommended a minimum of $600,000 as a starting point. Ms. White asked Mr. Purdue to look back at other notes. Being no further business, the meeting was adjourned at 12:30, and the next finance meeting will be Wednesday, March 22nd at 12 o'clock. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Next, we'll move on to building and grounds.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Ms. Cooper has already mentioned the overlap with the panic button. That's really a good idea. And no cost at all to the district. State provides grant. Mr. Purdue informed the committee that the outdoor learning environment shelters are scheduled to be shipped to us on April 28th. That's a delay. The Center for Information Data Course Room and the HVAC replacement have been completed. Thank you very much. And we also celebrated the custodian. February. Our next meeting, I don't have today, but it's usually the last Thursday. Thanks.
I think we have two motion items. You have two motion items?
Oh, it's on that. I have not seen that. Yes. Ms. Gooch, yes. Ms. Gooch has made a motion that the board list vacating facility on Gov Deal for an upset bid process to the reserve of $600,000. That was a motion
Okay,
for
that's
the
your,
board at this time.
okay, that's your motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor for approval do so by raising your right hand.
Also, Ms. Gooch made us with the board list vacant Lester Vance facility on the field for an upset bid process of $600,000. Make that motion now.
Your second, any discussion? There being none, all those in favor for approval, do so by raising your right hand.
That's why on the same issue of Western Vance, is saying that building, that includes the gym.
Will they come? Yes, all of it. Yes, all of it. Next, we'll move on to, meeting for policy and curriculum.
Thank you. Curriculum Committee met on February 23rd. Board members present were Gloria White, Dorothy Gooch, and myself. Staff members present were Dr. Cindy Bennett, Dr. Gail Powers, John Souther, Dr. Destiny Putney, Dr. Jennifer Caraway, Aaron Sandlin, Ray Horner, Marsh Abbott, and Kevin Perdue. I call the meeting to order at 9:30, and Dr. Powers welcomed everyone and shared their agenda. Instruction and improvement in updates. Dr. Powers shared with the committee information with the district improvement plan through IndyStar. Board members were given the login and password to review the district plan. She also shared instruction updates including MY and M class data. Ms. White stated that principals need to provide intervention for underperforming children and submitted a plan detailing the types of interventions they would have in place. Dr. Powers stated that we would talk to the principal about that the next principal's meeting. Dr. Ross Putney gave a professional update about the district-wide early release day on Wednesday, February 15th for all traditional calendar schools. We had over 17 unique professional development offerings for pre-K through 12th grade. She gave another thing, the Unified Talent Release PD platform. Dr. Ross Putnam stated that all principals, directors, and AZ staff have been trained, and all school and ASC department staff will be trained on the platform on February 28th. Ms. White asked if something will be sent out, or how long will we know that, how will we know about the training? Dr. Putney stated, yes, we had a spreadsheet with details about the training, how to set up and enter the course, transcripts, external credits, and calendar. All teachers and staff will know what renewed CEUs they have completed. Ms. White stated she thought that would be sufficient and work out well. The Center for Innovation Control, Dr. Putney shared an invitation to the committee to attend the invitation liftoff, which is for pre-K through second grade students. And I understand from talking to her earlier tonight that there's still about 3 weeks left in that program. So if some teachers, some schools haven't been yet, they still can. The event will be held at the Center for Innovation. There will be morning sessions from 9 to 11 and afternoon sessions from 12 to 2. Under technology, Ms. Abbott shared updates on technology equipment. She went on to share device updates and stated it had been recommended that we use etching devices for all of our equipment going forward. We have purchased the etching machine to etch in all existing devices. We have also purchased gumdrop cases for device protection. Can you hold up? No, protect the device from about a 12-foot drop, so it's good. These cases will be issued to students in pre-K through 5th grade first, and then the 6th to 8th grade. Dr. Bennett asked how much it cost, and Ms. Allen stated $24.99 per device. Ms. White asked, what do we have in place for returning devices? And Dr. Bennett stated that she and Ms. Abbott have discussed a plan, and Ms. Abbott will bring that plan forward at the next meeting. Ms. White stated she was doing a very good job. Finally, we're down to the student intern program for turn-ins. Ms. Abbott shared the intern program meeting was scheduled, and they had quite a few people there, had many more people that had committed to come. And they had no commitments to that meeting, but so they get no more commitments on a future meeting. More information is forthcoming. There was no other business. The meeting was adjourned at 10:05 a.m. And the next CNI meeting is March 28th. Thank you.
And I just like to add, when I was talking about returning devices and turning in devices and returning them at the end of the school year. So I think we'll develop a better plan than what we had last year, and then the rollout. All right, let's move on to community and business relations.
The Community and Business Relations Committee met on March the 7th. I do want to say that, is it 7th? Okay, the Community and Business Relations Committee met on March the 7th. And I do want to share that Ms. Sandlin received the Noah Carr Presidential Scholarship from the North Carolina School Public Relations Association, which allows for the district to be a member of the National School Public Association for 1 year. Additionally, on February the 10th, Vance County School was awarded 16 Blue Ribbons Awards, recognizing excellence in communication. The district also received 1 perfect score. So I did want to recognize Ms. Sandlin, and I think we should give her a hand. And Ms. Sandlin wanted to tell you the other information that she shared with us.
Thank you. We do, of course, have Arts Alive coming up April 22nd. Our sponsorship drive is still ongoing until April 3rd, with our master classes, Heart of the Art, and Talent Showcase all taking place that day between CFI and McGregor Hall. Our student spotlight, we do have an end of the year trip, Experience Raleigh, that will be taking place, as well as an end of the year banquet. Facebook, Twitter, and website insights. We are following those insights and analytics, not just for the district level, but also at the school-based levels. Collaborative projects, Project Adam is still underway. We are working with our nurses and safety to implement that. We are also working with mass notification, the Raise Panic button, our LEAP grants, the TEI Summer Institute, as well as the billboards as part of our collaborative projects as well. And our Innovative Schools marketing campaign, of course, ended, and those students will be receiving notification by the end of March. EdNC is focusing on arts for Vance County Schools, and of course, continuing our ongoing commercials with WICS.
And our next meeting is scheduled for March the 28th.
Okay, so do not have any new business, recurring items. Overnight field trips.
We do have out-of-state field trips. The first one is for April the 5th, Vance County Middle School, with 6 adults and 6 students who are actually traveling to the National Mall in Washington, D.C. So again, an out-of-state field trip. The second one, Spence County High School, traveling to the Norfolk Naval Station and Langley Air Force Base. And we have, they will actually, as I said, be visiting the two military installation areas. And again, out of state, so we'll need board approval for one for the high school, traveling to Norfolk Naval Station, Langley Air Force Base, Vance County Middle School, traveling to the National Mall in Washington, D.C.
Make a motion to approve both.
Okay, can I
Make
get
a
a second?
motion to approve both field trips.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? There being none, all those in favor for approval, do so by raising your right hand. Okay. Next, out of county transfers,
We actually, for
transfers and releases.
my apologies. For 22-23, we have 2 students transferring in. And for 23-24, we have 4 requests for students to join us from outside of the county next year, a total of 6.
Make a motion to accept the transfers as presented.
Motion to accept the transfers and releases. Second. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please do so by raising your right hand. And again, I would like to thank all of you for coming. That concludes our meeting. And I move that we go into closed session pursuant to the provisions of NCGS 143-318.11 for purposes of discussing legal, personnel, and property issues. That is my motion. May I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor, do so by raising your right hand. Again, thank you for coming and have a good evening.